Hello, everyone. Good morning to our audience in the UK and good afternoon to everyone in Malaysia and in the region. Thank you for joining us today for the BMCC Trade Webinar Series. Today's topic will be technology crowdsourcing, spurring innovation for the oil and gas sector in Malaysia. My name is Jennifer. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the Executive Director at the British Malaysian Chamber of Commerce. Joining me today for today's webinar are two distinguished speakers and friends of the Chamber. Firstly, Sridaran Sabapathy, who is currently the Senior Energy Specialist for Southeast Asia at the Scottish Development International, the Scottish Government's International Economic Agency. Sri is currently based at the British High Commission, Kuala Lumpur. Some of you who are familiar to the Chamber may recognize Sri. He was the trade lead for our trade services at the BMCC. So welcome back, Sri. Good to have you with us. Sri's topic of presentation will be on driving innovation through partnerships, the Scottish experience. Our next speaker will be the main speaker for today, Mr. Fadhlan Nick Abdul Aziz. Fadhlan is currently the Head of Innovation for Petronas, our national oil company. In his 17 years of experience at Petronas, Fadhlan has held various domestic and international assignments, including as the Head of Technology Commercialization and the Head of Upstream Technology at Petronas. He is now in charge of introducing the Innovation Gateway at Petronas, the first and single digital platform for technology crowdsourcing, which I believe Fadhlan will be sharing with us all today about. Thank you. Our appreciation to both Fadhlan and Sri for joining us today. So before we start our session for today, a little bit of housekeeping. Please be forthcoming with your questions during this session. Later, after the speakers have shared their insights, there will be a Q&A session. So send through your questions to the Q&A function available at the bottom of your screen instead of the public chat function. We will attempt to address all your questions if time permits. So before I pass to Sri, for those of you who are not familiar with the Chamber, especially those of you in the UK, I would like to share some information about BMCC. Okay. As many of you are aware, would be aware, for those members who are watching through from Malaysia, BMCC is a bilateral trade organization well established for more than 57 years. Our key pillars of value proposition to our members are networking and business-to-business engagement, branding and exposure for our members, opportunities to profile themselves in Malaysia, business-to-government engagement, especially through our sector networks. We have a very active energy committee among our membership, and which does industry advocacy. And last but not least, trade and market services. Next slide, please. Just to share with you, BMCC is not just in Malaysia. We are part of a global network, and we work with partners, especially in the UK. We are part of British in Southeast Asia, so we have access to our chambers in the Southeast Asia region. We are also part of the global British Chamber of Commerce network that gives access to fellow British chambers around globally. And we are pleased to have partnerships with the Scottish Development International, where we are working together on this webinar, also with the UK ASEAN Business Council and the British Malaysian Society in London, providing a wider reach for our stakeholders. Next slide, please. So since we offer the trade services, we are proud to share that we are the official delivery partner for DIT, the official delivery partner in Malaysia. Some of the services that we provide supporting UK companies is market access information, B2B business matching, one-to-one clinics for UK companies to understand the market better and to get advice from us, what will be your best way forward to enter the market or expand your business in the market. We also organize bespoke events such as roundtables, product launches, and we have either hosted trade delegations or host trade missions to other countries of the UK or in the region. We also have information about opportunities for UK businesses. If you're keen to know more about this information, either you can contact one of us, which I'll share in my next slide, the contact details, please. Next slide, please. So this is my last slide. If you're interested to know more about the opportunities in Malaysia, please contact any of us any of us who are listed here, and also or visit our website at www.bmcc.org.my. That's my presentation, a short introduction to BMCC. Thank you. Now over to you, Sri, for your session.
Okay, thank you very much, Jennifer. Again, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody. Thank you again for attending today's presentation. Very quickly, a quick overview on what I'm going to be talking. It's only going to be for 10 minutes. Essentially, I'm going to give the first part of my presentation. I'm just going to give an overview of what's happening in Scotland, how innovation are being driven in Scotland, who are the key players, what are their priorities. So this is mostly for the Malaysian companies who are listening in, to give them an overview of what's exactly happening in Scotland. And there are areas of opportunities for Malaysian companies looking at some of the initiatives that are happening in Scotland. The second part is a very quick case study. This is more towards the Scottish companies that are listening in, or UK companies who are listening in. This is more of for them to understand on a typical path, or what a path to Malaysia would look like under the technology challenge that have been proposed by Petronas. So starting off, again, I am interested to speaking to both Malaysian companies and also as well as Scottish companies who are generally interested in doing business in Malaysia or Southeast Asia. SDI focuses across the board. It's oil and gas, and it goes over to transition efforts and of course renewables as well. So kicking off with the presentation, next slide please. Okay, so when we say innovation in the North Sea, of course Scotland comes to mind, and there are typically three centers of technology or centers of innovation that are often referred to when we say innovation in Scotland. The first one is the Oil and Gas Technology Centre. The second one is, of course, the National Decommissioning Centre, and then we have the National Subsea Centre. It is important to note that the first one, the Oil and Gas Technology Centre, or OGTC, was the first to establish, and the Decommissioning Centre and the National Subsea Centre came subsequently. As you see, this was established in 2016, and then the Decommissioning Centre came on in 2019, and in 2020 was the Subsea Centre. For today's presentation, I'm just going to be focusing on the Oil and Gas Technology Centre. I think it's more relevant to what we are speaking here today. But very quickly, just to give you an understanding of what are the priorities for each one of these centers is, for OGTC, I'll go into details, but essentially they've got four sort of overarching principles. And under one of those principles, which is essentially maximizing the economic return from the UKCS and making sure that the supply chain benefits from those activities. And so the innovation are within asset integrity, wells, marginal development, decommissioning, digital transformation, subsurface, and of course, achieving net zero. For decommissioning, it'll be mature basin management, well decommissioning, LLA, and decommissioning. Meanwhile, for subsea, it'll be on smart basin, smart infrastructure, and of course, achieving a circular economy. Now to go into a bit more detail, next slide, please. So I've mentioned there are four overarching principles that govern OGTC. The first one is, of course, the solution center I mentioned earlier. The 7 points that I've mentioned earlier are within the solution centers. And as I mentioned before, they're looking at unlocking the potential from UKCS, maximizing the economic return, and making sure the companies that are there are invested and are participating in those opportunities. Under TechX Accelerator, it is essentially looking to how they can support some of the new ideas to some of startups that are coming in. Their key objective is very simple, looking at how startup companies can venture into the oil and gas sector and how they can go through the bureaucracy and just be ready to be able to supply to the industry. The third one is, of course, achieving national R&D centers. These are the other two centers that I mentioned earlier. So the Subsea Center and the Decommissioning Centers are spin-off from the Oil and Gas Technology Center. And the last one is cultivating innovation. This is mostly to position companies to look at how transition efforts are taking place and how the industry mindset would need to shift accordingly. Next slide, please. So I mentioned solution centers. Again, the slides will be shared to everyone who are listening, so I'm not going to go into them one by one. But as I mentioned, these are the 7 pillars under the solution centers, and there will be overlap to for some of the initiatives that are being taken place here in Malaysia. For instance, I know digital and decom and marginal field development would be one of those key areas of interest for Malaysia, and there are companies who are actively participating in research and development in the UK to see how they can bring down the cost for decom, or looking at how you can start up smart facilities. So there are companies in the supply chain who are in different positions who are already engaged with such activities in the UK and who might have aspirations to coming to Malaysia. So these are some of the things that I would be working on, and Malaysian companies who are listening in as well. If you would like to engage with such companies, we are more than happy to have that conversation. Next slide, please. This is the sort of the startup or accelerating the commercialization of new ideas. Essentially, what they're looking to do is have as many small companies who are innovating in different areas of the industry, and there are different targets and different attributes to these initiatives. There has been one of the key priorities, of course, is achieving the low carbon priority, where I have an example of a company that not only does cost saving, but also looking at the low carbon agenda, which is part of the 15 spin-out companies. And of course, there are 100 new startups they're looking to achieve, and how they can get those ideas into the industry as quickly as possible. And they're also looking at how innovation in other industries can be brought over to the oil and gas industry or the energy industry as a whole. And of course, there is a wealth of funding that is available, and up to 100 million that has been invested thus far. So the next slide, the next 2 slides, is really to give an example what a typical journey would look like. So the company I would like to use as an example is Plan C Solutions Limited. So Plan C is essentially a leading software company that's looking to transform the offshore marine logistics. They were established in 2017, and it is really a merger from an innovation or from a research activity from Robert Gordon University, where they have looked at the maritime logistics as a key area of development for AI. So Plan C was born from this ambition in 2017, and essentially what they're looking to do is emission reduction, fleet management, and vessel scheduling. So essentially looking at the most efficient way of organizing the vessels to make sure that voyages numbers remain low, and thus reducing cost and carbon emission. My last slide was just to give you a quick overview on what the path for this company, for Plan C, has been, just to give you an idea of how the process from UK to Malaysia. I started off the presentation by saying there is a benefit for both Malaysian companies and UK companies for what we are looking to do today, and I believe this is one of the examples of it. So Robert Gordon University developed the AI, the software, in 2015 up until 2016, and it was led by Professor John McCall. In 2017, there is proof of concept, and then OGTC had commissioned a marine logistics group, and because it has become an area of interest for them, and that given the cost reduction potential, and as well as carbon reduction as well. So in that same year, they went on to being the finalists for the emerging technology category for SPE's Offshore Achievement Award. And then move on to 2018. They're still going about and improving on the technology, but there's a key milestone there where the company Plan C Solutions Limited had been formed, and this is a spin-out company from Robert Gordon University. So move on to 2019. The company now has had field testing with BP, CNOOC, and Equinor, and more companies are jumping in the bandwagon to see the potential of this company. So now fast forward now to 2020, for this year, Plan C now has participated in the Innovation Gateway for Petronas, and the main objective is they have an international plan. They're not just looking at the UKCS, they're not just looking at Europe, they're looking at different parts of the world, and Malaysia and Southeast Asia is, of course, there's a wealth of opportunities. And the Innovation Gateway is a great way to get these companies to come in and participate in showing off their capability. So I would let Fadhlan to give more on that. So on to Mr. Fadhlan for his presentation.
Hello, everybody. Okay, can you see me? Hi. So, thank you, Sri, for the introduction on Innovation Gateway at Petronas. Today, I'm going to speak more about our window. So, I call this a window because this is the best way for us to peek through on what's going on out there. And it's also a good way for all of you to peek through to us and see what is going on this side of the wall. So Innovation Gateway at Petronas, I imagine this will be a window for us to collaborate, a platform that we can actually focus on our new technology deployment, new ways of doing things, and then this is something that we can benefit each other. Let's move on to the next page. All right, I'm going to start with the Petronas floating liquefied natural gas. So I think you know this, but I'm going to say it anyways. We have two of these. We have the first one, which is the PFLNG 1 that is currently in Kebambangan, that we started sailing out to Canoid Field in May 2017. This is part of our Kumang Cluster Phase 1 development. The recent one, PFLNG 2, was completed last year, and it's now currently in Rotan, in offshore Sabah. So this is a demonstration of how innovation works in Petronas. This is our world first floating LNG that is currently in offshore Sabah and Sarawak. Now this is a pinnacle. The reason I call it a demonstration is because there were so many parts inside here that shows that only through innovation should we have all this happening. It is a floating plant in the middle of the ocean, and we want to monetize the stranded fields across offshore North Sea Sabah. This is the only way that we can make it viable. Instead of building an onshore plant, we feel that by having this solution, we are able to monetize across multiple areas, which does not have to limit to just Malaysia alone. I'm sure when we venture into countries that requires monetization of stranded gas fields, we can actually ship out two of our PFLNG to those locations. We also have our own innovation, our own technology installed inside the PFLNG 2. It's called the Sabapathy Inlet Separation System. This is the, in our opinion, would be the best way to do sand washing, to do sand cleaning, to do sand removal, all in one equipment. It is co-designed together with a local company, and we have a shared IP on this solution. So this Sabapathy is currently in PFLNG 2 doing its job, making money for Petronas. Let's move on to the next one. Now, this is another demonstration of innovation. I think you know that we are in this team called Mercedes-AMG Petronas Formula 1 team, which we have been winning the World Championship for the past 6 years. So we are the reigning world champions, and we've been winning for the past 6 years, both for constructor and also for driver. This is a special car, this W11 on this photo here, because this is the first time the silver arrow actually turns into a black arrow. This is to show our support to the recent event, Black Lives Matter, where we painted our car black and all of our drivers are actually dressed in black. This is also to celebrate the recent win that we had in Austria over the weekend, where Bottas actually crossed the checkered flag 6 seconds against number 2. And that's why also I'm wearing the Mercedes AMG Petronas shirt today, just to celebrate that moment. Now, even though we've been achieving 6 years of world domination in Formula One, there comes a time before that, actually we were struggling to go into Formula One. As a company in Malaysia, we have to show that we have the technology to push forward the company. So what better way than for us to have relations with the Formula One team? Back in 1996, we decided to go in, and the only company that would like to work together with a small national oil company all the way in Malaysia was Sauber Petronas. So that journey started off in 1996. I was fortunate enough to be one of the team members in Sauber Petronas Engineering in the year 2002 until 2004. So things were not that rosy then. We were producing cars, but unfortunately we only got the highest, I would say, would be podium once for the past, I think it was a period between 2000 until 2007. So it was challenging, but we still keep on trotting on to come up with innovative products. So the reason that I want to share this to you is that innovation can actually push you forward. It may take some time for you to bear fruit. For us, we started our journey in 1996, so it was a very long time before we reached this stage of having become world champions for the past 6 years. So we changed our status, our reputation from a small company that where all the Formula One teams just did not want to be, associated with us back in 1996, to right now, our Petronas winning formula for our lubricant and fuel is highly sought after across the globe. The moment that if, for whatever reason, that we do not want to continue our relationship with Mercedes AMG, I'm sure other Formula One teams are lining up to be partners with us. It did take a long time just to say that innovation actually can take you further ahead than what you can imagine. During my time when I was in Switzerland back in 2002, I never imagined that we will become world champions looking at where we were then. Never in my wildest dreams that we will achieve 6 times world champions. So this has been a very fruitful journey in our relationship in Mercedes AMG Petronas. So we just started our season over the weekend and we just won our first race on Sunday. I hope that we can continue on winning the next races so that we can still become the 7th world champions in a row. Let's move on to the next one. Now, I want to share with you also on the journey of the company. I mean, there's not that many companies in the whole world that actually can survive more than 100 years. The big boys like ExxonMobil, like Shell, are in that league. So Petronas was born on August 17th, 1974. We're just a couple of days shy on achieving our 46 years. So we still have a long way to go in order for us to reach 100 years. So in my opinion, innovation will be the best building block for us to surpass that 100-year stage. So in each level of our organization, we encourage technology and we encourage innovation. So I'm going to share with you on how we treat this innovation gateway as our window in communicating between yourselves and us. Let's move on to the next one. I want to introduce you to Innovation Gateway at Petronas. So inside this Innovation Gateway, we have 2 big sections. The first one is to address on telling you our business pain points And the second one is for us to listen to you on coming up with solutions. So when we started off this Innovation Gateway back in July 2017, what we did was we listened to the ground to find out the challenges that the industry players are facing in order to propose or even adopt new technology inside Petronas. So the common feedback that we always receive are two. The first one is the industry players, the people, the technology providers in the UK and even in Malaysia, unable to access the business pain points that is really affecting our bottom line. What is really keeping us awake at night? What is actually bleeding us? And what are the things that worry us the most, especially in the operation side, both in offshore platforms and also in downstream plants. So we developed a method to share our business pain points, and I will go into detail of that. The second most common feedback that I always get from the companies in the UK and also in Malaysia was that when you have a new solution and you feel that this will bring value to Petronas, what is the best way to share this to Petronas? Is it by engaging with our colleagues who are in Aberdeen? What about sending an email to somebody who works in Sudan? Is it calling up your cousins and your cousins' neighbors who are working in Petronas and find out how do you sell this new idea to them? Is it by traveling from Turkmenistan to Iraq, coming to Sabah, going back to Turkmenistan, presenting to multiple parties? Is that the best way to share new technology to Petronas? Who is actually responsible in bringing new technologies to Petronas? How do I get the technology deployed and approved? So we developed another solution through Innovation Gateway to address that. So I'm going to go through to you two big sections. The first one is Petronas Technology Challenge to address on sharing our business pain points. The second one is on Technology Marketplace, where we will receive displacing technology from you for us to put into our technology supermarket. So it is a platform to support our open innovation concept. We want to facilitate collaboration. That's where the window comes in. This window is our way of setting up a collaboration platform between us and the industry players. And main thing is we want to accelerate the pace of deployment and replication in Petronas. We feel that we should do more and we should do it faster. And we feel that Innovation Gateway at Petronas will be the solution for us to reach that goal. Let's move on to the next page. So I will highlight to you on the first, which is the technology challenge. The first section is called the Petronas Technology Challenge. This is our way of telling you what are our business pain points are. So now, let's say if a business is actually bleeding due to a problem that is facing. So what my team does in innovation is actually to look into technology challenge topics that is systemic, that is applicable across our businesses in upstream, in downstream, and also in gas and new energy. So the technology has to be, the problem has to be a systemic issue that spans across all three businesses, so that we can actually identify this as a technology challenge topic. Once we have this, and we will publish it so that you can have access to it and participate. The way that we publish it is we do a competition. That's why we call it a challenge. It is a technology competition in which we will publish the topic together with its criteria, the expectation from Petronas, the timeline, and also the rules and regulation of the competition. We'll give you the time to prepare the proposal and submit across to our website in Petronas through Petronas Technology Challenge. So we are now at number 11 right now. We've been doing this since July 2017. So number 11 that is currently open for all of you to participate is on organic acid corrosion prevention and mitigation for topside piping and equipment. So we're looking for the solution. This is a massive pain point across all of our 3 big businesses. So I urge all of you to take a photo of this, start putting on your thinking cap and participate in our Petronas Technology Challenge 11. And to submit your proposal before the 31st of July 2020. So what do you get? It's a crowdsourcing initiative to seek innovative solution, addressing our pain points. It's also an opportunity for you to jointly develop the technology with us. So let's say if you are the winner for this technology challenge, what you will get is an exclusive arrangement of deployment and replication campaign on the technology that you propose and want in addressing our pain points across our business. So the winner will not receive a £10,000 award or a trophy. We actually have a chance to do business with Petronas by installing the technology into multiple areas in our businesses, both in upstream, downstream, and gas new energy. So with that, you will actually learn more about the technology on how to make it work, how to make it more easy to use. The second part of this advantages of winning the challenge is on the technology development that we'll be doing together with us. As you move along and you deploy it to multiple areas, temperatures between 0 degrees to 140 degrees, pressures of between 0.5 bar to 300 bar gauge. When you do all this application, elevated 9 meters above ground, doing it in subsea, when we offer you all this environment, you will learn more about the technology. You will learn how it will react to the solution that is giving it. It may be more fruitful to do a certain way, or maybe more cheaper for us to deploy it in a certain other way. So when we do this development together, you will learn on how to improve or enhance the technology. So the second advantage is you have an opportunity to develop further the technology, enhance it, and we can actually make an arrangement of a joint intellectual property between Petronas and the winner. Let's move on to the next one. Next page. Okay, let me share with you all the technology winners so far that we've gotten. So back in July 2017, we've launched our first technology challenge. This is our first adventure into technology crowdsourcing. So the winner is a local company called Transporter and MTC Engineering Consortium. The topic is on monetization of switched gas from offshore flare. Second one is on the inspection tool for composite overwrap repair. The winner is Sonomatics, and the company is actually based in Aberdeen. The third one is Technology Challenge 3. It's the onshore hydrocarbon recovery from sludge. How do we monetize our sludge? How do we monetize waste? The winner is a local company called Time Marine Services Sridaran. Tech Challenge number 4 is the effective field inspection tool to combat corrosion under insulation, which is a big issue for upstream and downstream and gas new energy. The winner is KMZ Energy Sdn Bhd, a company that is well versed in inspection and also in the development of new non-metallic pipelines. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so then we reach number 6. So number 6 is a little bit special because we want to encourage new participants from our local universities. So this challenge is only open to local universities, it was finished already, and we have the winner. The winner is University Kebangsaan Malaysia, and the topic is on autonomous drone capable of performing UT at height. The team, well, we had multiple teams from UKM. So Team Khawarizmi won this competition. Number 7 is to go down to our Petronas gas stations, gas and petrol station. A solution to come up with a new design and new material for crack-resistant, liquid-type and maintenance-free tank sump and dispenser sump. So the winner is a local company as well. The company is called Atlas Composite Technologies Sridaran Berhad. Number 8 is on flue gas SOx emission reduction. This will be deployed in our gas and new energy plant in downstream. The winner is from the People's Republic of China, a company called Jiangnan Environmental Protection Group Incorporated. So we have multiple challenges currently ongoing. It's already closed. However, we are actually selecting amongst all the participants to find the right winner. All of these technology challenges have been identified the pilot. We also have a program for the replication, and our focus is so that we can replicate the technology to be used all across Petronas, and we run it as a campaign. So all of these are readily available online. You can find the challenges, the winners, the details, and all the criteria, as well as the success stories, all available on our website, www.petronas.com/innovation. Let's move on to the next one. Now, I want to explain to you also the second section of Innovation Gateway at Petronas. The first part was to inform you on our business pain points for you to participate and being selected as the winner and have an opportunity to deploy in multiple areas across Petronas. Now, back to the second section. How do you actually introduce a technology to Petronas and get the right approval and also the right adaptation and replication? So we created the second part, which is called the Technology Marketplace. It is created to be our single submission point for any new technology to bring forth to Petronas. We have a catalog that is made readily available to all of our staff, from Turkmenistan to Iraq, to Aberdeen, to Sudan, to Sabah, Sarawak, to Kerteh, Gurun, Pengerang, and Gebeng, and also the Twin Towers. So all of our staff, all across the globe, all 48,000, all of us, will have access to the Technology Marketplace, our catalog, as long as you submit it into our Technology Marketplace. So how does it work actually? It's fairly easy. You just register. You go into our website to register your company, submit your technology. There is no limitation on the number of technologies that you can submit. You can submit as many as you like. Just gotta make sure that the company remains the same. Cannot be submitting multiple technologies across multiple companies. So use just one company. Because I remember I had this issue before, whereby the principal submit one technology and the agent in Malaysia submit the same thing. So you gotta agree with the people that you've been working here, that if it is you that will be submitting, there will be one company, and the other company will actually be supporting behind you. So register one company. Submit as many technologies as you have. Upon that, we will actually transmit this or transfer your submission to our group technical authority. So in Petronas, we have appointed 31 group technical authorities. One of their they have a lot of responsibilities, but one of their responsibilities is actually to approve new technology to be deployed in Petronas. So each of the group technical authorities have their own areas of expertise. So we have a GTA for reservoir engineering, we have a GTA for mechanical engineering, for process engineering, We also have one for petroleum engineering, for geologists, for petrophysics, for petrophysicists. There are many more of these areas that we've appointed the GTA to be in charge of. So once you enter technology marketplace, you will select the right field. If you don't know which right field that you want to select, you can always get in touch with me, no problem. I can guide you on that. Once you've submitted it, you select the right field, then it will be transferred into the desk of the Group Technical Authority. So one of these Group Technical Authority out of that 31 will actually review your submission. We will communicate with you to get further clarification from you. They will send some inquiries through the portal, in which you will get a notification once they send the inquiries. They might ask questions like, what is the limitations of the temperature for this technology? How fast can you do it for a 300-meter pipeline? What is the advantage of this technology against A, B, C, D, E competitor? What's the pricing like in comparison to the normal technology we always used to? How easy it is for us to bring it to offshore? What kind of power source do you require? How much power consumption will it take? What kind of safety feature do I need to prepare in order for me to bring the technology to site? Relevant question on deployment and replication to you. And what you will do is actually to respond to those questions. You will respond through this portal, and we will get that information. The GTA will get the information for its review. If he or she is happy or satisfied with the answers that you provide, then you will click OK, and you will move on to be inside our technology catalog. So now, once you're in the technology catalog, that means you are accessible to everybody across Petronas. Anybody who has this issue of pinpoint, let's say, for example, corrosion under insulation, will get a chance to look into the catalog and have you on the catalog and have access to you. You will have all your marketing information inside there, all of the limitations, the criteria, everything that you would like the customer to know about your product inside that catalog. You can put in videos or PDF or PowerPoints or as many photos as you like to make the technology superior against the competitors. So once you are available in technology catalog, you can use this as a marketing tool. You can tell people that you are approved and ready to be used in technology marketplace inside Innovation Gateway at Petronas. Therefore, the next conversation to the asset owners in Sudan, in Turkmenistan or Iraq will be on how to deploy this technology and find the right suitability to the place that you want to identify for deployment. Okay, let's move on to the next one. I want to explain to you on some of the success stories from our technology catalog. So staff like me will have a look at this catalog. So we have roughly about close to 700 submissions so far since July 2017, out of which 153 is currently approved and inside our catalog. So we're looking at about 1 out of 4. So mind you, not all submissions will graduate to be inside the catalog. So I'll give you 3 examples. The first one is the VROC AI. It was piloted in PMA Dulang, Peninsula Malaysia Asset Dulang, and replicated in Duyung. So it was piloted in 2020, early in 2020, now replicated in Duyung. Mecaflex has been appointed as the VDP Innovation and Technology, the vendor development program for Malaysian companies. The company is called Pro8, and they've been appointed as the VDP Innotech late last year. So the technology that they are producing, Mecaflex, will be used across Petronas based on this VDP Innotech arrangement. The third one is to stabilize centralized conductor that first has been submitted to Innovation Gateway at Petronas in 2018, deployed in Boko in Sarawak Oil, replicated again in Boko B here in Peninsular Malaysia, then replicated again in 2020 in West Lutong in Sarawak Oil. So there is a campaign for us to deploy this technology. Let's move on to the next one. Right. So I want to thank you for listening and thank you for your passion. So you can scan the QR code. The window is called Innovation.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Hello. Hi. Fadhlan? Yeah, sorry, I had a bit of technical. I just came back. Okay. Thank you, Fadhlan and Sri. Sri, can I have you back on the screen? Yeah. So now we will go on to our Q&A session. Thank you to both of you for an interesting sharing. Sri, thank you for sharing about how providing information about the oil and gas tech center, how UK companies can tap on the services available. And interesting to hear about the TechX Accelerate, where opportunities are given to startup. And also, Fadhlan, congratulations on the recent win by Mercedes-AMG Petronas Motorsports. As a Malaysian, I'm also very proud to hear, and I look forward to a continuous. And you mentioned innovation can push you forward. I totally believe that. And it's really a great example how Petronas has been able to achieve two key, innovation success. One is with your Petronas floating LNG plant, which is monetizing the stranded gas fields, and also the motorsports itself. That is something that none of us, even Malaysians, we thought that it was something that it's someone's ambition. And then today we are able to prove to the world that innovation can take us forward. So well done to the team at Petronas. So now we will move on to the Q&A session. The first Q&A, I think you, Fadhlan, you've already answered. Someone asked about if you're sharing the slides. Definitely. And you, for those of you, Fadhlan has given his email address there. So please, if you have any questions you want to ask him later, can. But let's take some questions that came about. Okay, let's go to the easy one first. I think it's an easy one, which was asked at the beginning of your session itself, Fadhlan. This is for you. Notice the mention of condition monitoring and preventative maintenance within the asset integrity portion of the presentation. Could we have details on who we can talk to about this?
Okay, so the answer to this is we need more information. So I need you to register your company, Steven, submit it into Innovation Gateway at Petronas under Technology Marketplace. It will bring to the right group technical authority where we have a conversation with that person. Once he or she is happy with the submission, then we'll put it into our catalog.
Yeah, so I think that clearly answers that. Fadhlan, someone had a question about TC6, which is about the university, the opportunities that Petronas gave for universities to participate in your challenge. So they are curious to know that was their technology actually a proven one, or were they given a chance to develop it further with Petronas? And then yes.
Okay, so the key item is to have a challenge specifically for local university. So that was the motivation. The item that we promote was an autonomous drone to conduct UT at height. It's still a requirement. However, we can still use man to do UT inspection at height. It's not something that we cannot live without. So now, this autonomous drone, we know that there's none in the market. Autonomous means you just press a button and then the drone will go to the location, conduct the inspection and come back to you without the use of a pilot. So it is something that is quite far-fetched and difficult to find. So we open this to our local universities where they can actually use a drone and develop a way to do the UT inspection at height. So it is still premature. We call it at technology readiness level 4. which is only at a prototype level. We haven't actually done this or deployed this. So it is still something, it's still a technology that requires further development, in which we, Petronas, will do it with the winner of the Tech Challenge 6.
Okay. 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 There's like a question on maybe this is related to also I am actually curious to ask questions. Since I'm a moderator, maybe I can ask you a question. You did share with me about the Petronas pain points, right? So I'm assuming that this Petronas pain points, to encourage more innovation submission, innovative products and services to be, submitted to your platforms. Is it available? Just to clarify, is it available on the platforms itself? If someone is interested, can they go to your marketplace, and will there be the pain points available so that they will know what kind of solutions that you're looking for?
Yeah, so the short answer is yes, but I think the long answer will be there will be a very descriptive criteria and the technical agenda that will be highlighted on each of our business pain points.
Okay. Okay, so thank you on that. We have a more of a generic question here. In terms of the issues currently being faced by the sector itself. Maybe this is based on your knowledge. Maybe Sri can also add on. What do you see as the most critical issues facing the sector? I'll assume the oil and gas energy sector. And what will be your priorities moving forward?
Critical issue right now, if you ask me, is a different way of doing things. Because, when we were having a reasonable price range of crude oil, we noticed there were a lot of areas that we need to improve on. But because oil and gas is an industry that is slow to react to innovation, we were unable to address that in record time. So now, after 2014, we are now in our, I don't know how many times, of a economic downturn in which the price has gone lower than what we expect it to be, what we're used to. So now we need to react to it, reacting by coming up with new innovation that can address this conundrum of a situation that we have. So the best way for us to do is actually, well, in my opinion, we need to do three things. The first one is to collaborate with the industry. We need to encourage a lot more collaboration. The second one is to go digital, where find the solutions through digital, in which Innovation Gateway at Petronas is one of the digital solutions to technology crowdsource. And the third one is pace. So pace is something of an issue for us. We need to actually accelerate the speed of doing things in our industry. And for us to find the right innovation, find the right technology, match it with our business pain points.
Okay, very good, very clear answer. I totally agree. Collaboration is very important today. And definitely in current situations, everyone is looking at, across all sectors, everyone is looking at going digital. And speed is definitely something that, it's key for many, many companies today, including everyone in the oil and gas sector. Okay, we are getting quite a number of questions coming in.
Oh, wow.
Yes, you'll be happy to know that. This question is for Fadhlan, especially mentioned. Are you supporting technologies that are created to combat the coronavirus? They want to know what's your view on that. I think you did have, this may also be related to another question that says that you did identify, not during the presentation, but earlier, disinfection technology for human. So, what are you looking for supporting technologies to combat the coronavirus at this point?
Okay, so combating coronavirus is more of a Ministry of Health jurisdiction rather than Petronas. What we are most interested in is living with coronavirus. How do we
Okay.
change our working life to suit with living with coronavirus? And yes, yeah, it's
Correct. I think that's the
essential.
idea. That's the question, maybe, looking at. Yeah. To
Yeah, so
rephrase it. Yeah.
yes, living with coronavirus. Yes, we are looking for a solution in Petronas. Once we started with this coronavirus attack in March, I think we got it first in early March. So we've developed several solutions internally for us to use across Petronas. The first one is we've developed one machine called a CPAP, continuous pressure airflow equipment that we use for as a breathing apparatus. We've developed that solution with Mercedes-AMG Petronas, and we have it locally made. We make available to all hospitals that require that. Fortunately, there's only 2 person who requires breathing apparatus now, breathing equipment now. So that's good. So our innovation is readily available, just that maybe the demand is not there now, which is very good. We don't want 3,000 people on breathing equipment in Malaysia. Second one is we've developed our own hand sanitizers that is much cleaner and more effective compared to the market. And we distribute this across all of our workers in Petronas in offshore and in onshore. Unfortunately, it's not made available in Guardian or Watson. So
Okay.
Jenny, you cannot buy them.
Okay.
it's for us actually.
Uh-huh.
Third one is we've developed Spot. A Spot is an app that we install into our phones in order for us to detect the movement of all of our staff
Okay.
across the areas, in the working areas, as well as predict the growth or the spread of the coronavirus in Malaysia. So we can track our people. We also can track the growth of areas whereby we have a lot of coronavirus. So that's what we are doing for ourselves in terms of developing new innovations.
Yeah, I think all of us can safely, as being in Malaysia, I can say Petronas as the national oil company sets the standard for health and safety for the sector. So we will definitely, expect the highest health and safety conditions for your people. Yeah, so I know that your tower is still not opened yet, even though most of Malaysia has started business, because your priority is the health and safety of your people. Yeah. So, there's another question. It's about the challenge itself. Given, because your deadline for the upcoming challenge is 31st July, and given the current travel restrictions and condition, I'm assuming that this is because normally the demonstrations or the presentations probably have to be on a physical meeting. So, will you all be looking at a virtual demonstration in the case of restrictions are still in place for the year?
As you mentioned before, the Twin Towers is currently closed for business. So we're not accepting any visitors from overseas.
Okay.
So
They can't come also at the moment because the
yes,
borders are still closed. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So we do the evaluation online.
Okay, that's good to hear. So business as usual, but everything has moved like virtually. I won't say really usual, new normal, right?
New normal, correct.
Yes. So, and then that's like so now we are coming to the challenge is the one, the current one is up to 31st July. So when will we be looking for another one coming up soon, or how is it?
Yeah, we'll be shooting up several more in July and a couple more in August. So what I need for all of you who's listening in, be friends with Petronas on our social media platforms, in our Instagram, in our LinkedIn, in our Twitter, and our Facebook. Be friends in all 4 platforms. Once we issue out a new technology challenge, you will get a notification. And immediately get yourself ready and submit your proposal to our upcoming challenge.
Okay, I think Fadhlan, that you have nicely come to a closing of our session, saying everyone be friends with Petronas social media. Rightfully, I think Sri and I will also say be friends with us on the social media. you know, I mean, we work closely. We also promote if, you know, if you have your challenge on our social media platforms. We could not, unfortunately, we could not answer all the questions. Maybe Fadhlan, you can have a look at those questions if you're willing to, you know, answer them. You know, we'll be happy to share the answers with our participants later on. So I must say thank you so much to you and Sri. You know, Sri, I have a question. I'll ask you later. Yeah, Sri. Yeah, it was interesting. I did not realize the time has passed. So thank you again. Thank you from behalf of BMCC to Petronas and Sri and SDI for helping us promote this, you know, event. So with that, thank you to all our audience watching in. I hope you had an insightful session. Our contact details are available. So please do write to us, email us, or contact me directly for if you want to link up with Fadhlan. We are always happy to speak to you. With that, we look forward to seeing you in our next webinar session. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening or good day.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.